French people are free to speak up. If anything happens, trust me, someone will speak up, and it will go public, it will go viral. So no, if and we have so many different parties. People don't like each other. All those party people from different parties, right? So if one of them finds something suspicious, they will say it. And actually, we have to write a report at the end of the election, and all the observers must sign the report. Like, okay, do you agree with everything?
Well, yeah, I mean, we have a ballot report table that gets posted outside the voting station, but I mean, it's just like by the time they post that, all the fraud is already done. So that's more just like an administrative thing they have to take.
But who signs the paper?
Two people, the main person and the second most important.
In France, it's the head of the voting station, the assistants. So they are government, but also the observers.
Yeah, the observer doesn't stamp it. And also,
exactly. So there's no way to say, "Oh, I disagree."
But I have to inform you that, like, technically speaking, all the parties have the right to set an observer, but it doesn't actually happen in real life. Like, they say in theory that they're doing it, but then the problem is that we call them monitors, right? The KMT party, like, if you actually know them, like, they don't actually send the observers because they have a budget for it, right? But the person in charge of the budget either puts it in their pocket, or they actually just don't have the money to send monitors.
In France, it's voluntary. I go for free.
Yeah. I mean, maybe there's more people who care about this in France, but like in Taiwan, I just feel like people in Taiwan are kind of like lazy. They just kind of like vote and they go home.
So they just don't care about democracy. I mean, I'm being very rude right now.
No. They do, but they're lazy. They want someone else to do the job for them. You know what I'm saying? So like if you talk about like Pan Blue supporters, their mentality is like the KMT needs to do this, KMT needs to do that. And I was like, why don't you just do something yourself? But then we don't have the right to be inside the voting station. A normal person, like
probably in France as well. You cannot. You have to apply.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is that the monitor needs to be sent by the party, but the problem is the party either doesn't send the monitor because they don't care, or B, they don't have the money to do it. So like in 2004, that presidential election was a legitimate presidential election, whereas like what I mean by legitimate is the KMT actually wanted to win the election.
But it's crazy. Nobody wants to do it for free.
No. People don't work for free in Taiwan. No, people don't work for free in Taiwan.
Look,
and even if you pay them, they can still be bought. Let's say I pay this person 2,000 NT to go be my monitor. Wow. The government can just pay them 10,000 NT to look the other way. So it's like, and behind rigged elections is big money for the election staff and buying off monitors or just monitor looking the other way. So like in the 2004 election, there were 13,000 plus voting stations, and the KMT only sent 7,000, approximately half, 6,000 to 7,000. So they actually did want to win that election, and they only sent monitors to half the stations. So how many monitors were sent in the 2020 presidential election when Angori, who was not the KMT chairman, ran? Like, I don't have a specific number, but it was very few. Because the party just doesn't care about this guy, and there was like an under the table agreement, I believe, to just get rid of him. And the KMT also gave up their legislators too, because if you rig the presidential election, you have to rig the legislative election along with it, or else the KMT would win big in the legislative election and lose in the presidential election, and everyone would know it's fraud, right? So
I'm sure there are still so many people in Taiwan who really care about democracy and would do it for free,
Well, the party still has to send you. Yeah, so even if you want to do it for free, they would not necessarily, it's their decision over whether or not to send you, or like what you're actually going to be doing. So like we need a candidate in Taiwan that will take over the monitor situation himself or herself. And then if you don't have the money, if you're not wealthy, then get the money from someplace else. You know what I'm saying? But the candidate themselves has to take over the situation. So like, okay, I'm going to train these monitors, I'm going to make sure that they go, and that they're going to do it right.
So okay, let me tell you how it happens in France, right? parties will send like emails or contact their members and say, okay, who wants to be a monitor? And you only need one guy per voting station, Okay, so and they will find them, they will. People will volunteer. It's just one day. And it's fun. You talk to people, and I enjoy talking to other candidates because it's like a day of truce, actually. It's a day for democracy. So I talked to all the other party members, and it was great fun, just for one day. You have a day of truce. It's great. Meeting those people who think different, it's actually a great day. I always enjoy going. And so they sign you up to the government, and boom, you're on the list. You are an observer, and then the voting station head you will have a short meeting of like 30 minutes at the start of the day, and he's in charge of explaining to everybody how it works. So even if you've never done it before, it's super straightforward, right? And even during the day, if you have any questions, he's there to help. That's his job, and he's paid because he's governor, right? That's his duty.
Yeah, unfortunately, the attitude of our election staff in Taiwan is just getting worse and worse. And oftentimes they come from out of town, which is like not appropriate because in the past it was supposed to be civil servant working in that local area, so they have to be more polite because they actually live there, right? But when you bring in like people who are not civil servants from out of town, most likely you'll never see that person again. And then that's why, like we saw in the 2020 presidential election, a lot of people had luggage in the voting station, which is like, you've never seen that before. It was just like, where the hell are these people from? Like, they're like gonna get on a bus and go someplace else after this, And it was just like, they were just, a lot of people were told not to come. Like, let's say you've been working elections for 20, 30 years and you're like a teacher at some school, right? And then all of a sudden they say, you don't have to come. I was like, well, why? Like, who's going to do the job, right? Like, oh, someone else will do it. And I'm saying that, like, changing the ballot boxes to cardboard boxes, and then switching the election staff.
What was it made of before
I'm sorry?
cardboard?
It was made of like either plastic or like acrylic, which is like semi-transparent. But the point is that at least those boxes were solid. They didn't have a hole at the bottom. It's not just the issue of not transparent. It's having a hole at the bottom. Because so what we saw is like when they were counting the ballots, they were just like, oh, I want this one, but I don't want this one. So they're putting ballots back in the box. Is there any reason to grab a ballot, look at it, and say, oh no, I don't want this one? That's like here. I'll pretend this is a ballot. I pick up a Hangori ballot from the box, Hangori, and then I look at it. I'm like, oh, shit, let's put that back down there. I don't want that one. There's no reason for someone taking ballots out of a box to ever look at it, unless they just want to like set it right side up so it's easier to read. That's okay to do, but to actually look at which candidate it is and go, I don't want this one. I want that one. This is like ballot sorting, and people go, you know what? When I told people this, they told me, Jason, you need to calm down. There's nothing wrong here because they put it back in the box, right? That Hangori ballot, which you think is Hangori ballot, because you think everything's fraud, would be picked up later because it's still in the box. They have to show you an empty box at the end of the process, right? However, if there's a hole at the bottom, then now it all makes sense, because if you put like 200 of these at the bottom of the box and you only want to grab the tiny one once for a maybe 60% of these or something like that, then there will be a bunch of ballots of these left, and you can just steal them. And that's what the video indicates on January 11th. That's what happened in my voting station, and that's what I saw happening in the video from Kaohsiung to Taipei on January 11th. In certain voting stations, they would just steal them right out of the box. So that's like pretty straightforward, right? And then oh, okay. One more question is, do they have a verification process in France for how do they tally the ballots? Like how do
Counting?
The counting, yeah.
So that's at the end of the day. They take the envelopes out of the ballot box, and 4 people. So at that point, any citizen can do it. It's at the end of the day. You just show up and say, and again, people
Do
are
it.
volunteers.
Do it, I mean, watch or do it.
Either watch or do it, and do it. Yeah, you can
Don't you
do
have to be election staff to take ballots out of a box?
no. Yes, that's the president or the vice president of the voting station.
Okay.
Yeah, who will do it. He will do it in front of everybody.
Okay, now, can you describe the process of taking the ballots out of the box?
Yeah, so they will use the 2 keys, right? The
Yeah.
president and the person that was chosen that day, you know, or that volunteer
observer, yeah.
to be the second guy with the key, right?
Yeah.
So together they will open the ballot box and put all the ballot box on a table.
The ballots on the table?
Yeah, the ballots.
Hold on.
On the table.
What about the number of the
Yeah, they have to match. So when you enter the room
Yeah.
to vote, right, during the day, you will sign a paper, and this is the voters list. You have to be registered to be a voter,
Yeah.
and to be registered, you just need your ID, your French ID.
Yeah.
Okay, so you register, and it's usually 3 weeks before the elections. After that, you cannot register anymore
Okay.
to vote, but you just need your national ID. That's it, or passport, whatever, right? So you show up, sign, and vote.
Okay, but
And after you put the ballot in the ballot box, you have to sign again.
okay, the voter list.
Yeah, because there are 4 people next to the box who are in charge of verifying and writing your name on the list
Okay. A question: does the voter list stay within view of the
all the time.
public? Yeah, in Taiwan, the November 26th election, we have video in Taiwan of the voter list being brought to a back room, like a voting station with like a door in the back. And then they went through the door, took it away, and then people are like, "How come you're not counting the ballots?" They said, "Just wait." Then everyone's just standing there doing nothing. It's just, where's the voter list? It's like it's in the back. And then the observers were getting angry, and they're like, "No, bring out the voter list. What are you doing back there?" And after about 10 minutes, the voter list came back, and they said, "Sir, you are interfering with our duties. You're doing something illegal." You know, it's almost like people getting mad over illegal behavior are the ones who are wrong in Taiwan. Now, my interpretation of bringing the voter list to the back room is that when you stuff ballots, let's say you stuff 100 ballots, what happens is you have to stamp the voter list also.
But listen,
Otherwise, there will be like 100 phantom voters.
if that happened in France,
Yeah.
as an observer,
Yeah.
I wouldn't make a big scene. I would ask for this event to be recorded on the record.
Okay.
Period.
All right.
So it's on the official record,
Okay.
and I did my job.
And what happens to the record, though?
Well, it's supposed to be taken to the government, and it's there on record. And if you want later, I would mention that to my party, for example, and then my party can choose to go on to the next step. So go to court or whatever.
Lawsuit? Okay, all right. Yeah, lawsuits don't exactly work in Taiwan, so yeah.
I'm talking about France.
Yeah. I'm just saying that unfortunately nothing.
Taiwan is your thing.
Nothing works in Taiwan. You sue, and then it's just like the judge just throws out all the evidence. Says, "Oh yeah, this is just an honest mistake. Like you're thinking too much. 想太多. Everything's 想太多 in Taiwan, you know." So, okay. So, in France when they do the ballot count, do they have to tell the public how many ballots were cast before counting, like what that counter reads? It's required by law to declare. So if it says 600.
So during the day, you are counting the ballots one by one during the day, right? Throughout the day.
Oh, the
Because
counter.
I told you
Yeah.
there are signing,
Yeah,
right?
every time.
So then you just have to read the signature book and
Okay.
count. Okay, I have 5 signatures here. That means 5 people voted. And this list it goes by law. The mechanics counting stuff doesn't count by law. It's just there to help. You know, because sometimes you can action it, the lever by mistake. You know.
Okay, but I'm saying, isn't the number of ballots cast on the box itself also? Isn't that easier just to read off of that, the counter?
No, because like I said, you can just actionate the lever and it counts as one, but
Right.
actually no envelope.
Oh, I mean
inside.
mistake.
So
mistake
it
happened.
can only be more, you know.
Right. So the
but
voter
it
list.
doesn't matter, man, because you have the book with the signatures. And that is the most important. People who actually sign, because you can verify and you can even contact them. Oh, did you actually vote? If there's a problem, and then you make you count the number of envelopes, and when the actual check happens is then when you match the number of envelopes with the number of signatures in the book.
Okay.
And the numbers must match. If they don't, you recount the envelopes. And if there's a problem, I don't know what happens.
Okay, so it's required by law to declare to the observers how many ballots were cast before counting. Okay, so this is to prevent fraud. Okay, in Taiwan we also have this.
There are so many things you must do to prevent fraud.
Okay, so let me explain. In Taiwan, we have this law also, the Central Election Commission's law. As of 2018, they got rid of it. So you no longer have to declare the number of ballots cast. And what happened was in 2018, the DPP lost the local elections. So the DPP legislators started complaining, why did you get rid of this law? Now it's all super easy to stuff ballots, right? Because if there's no number given, then basically you can just do whatever the hell you want, right? It makes it super easy to cheat because there's no accountability. Because I observed at voting station, they were willing to give me the number 576 or something, and then they actually counted 576 ballots. So because they matched the number, even though I wasn't watching them the whole time, I just believed that they didn't do anything because the number matched, right? So although they can still get around that by stuffing a specific amount, and they know how much they stuff, but I just believe them. But anyway, what I'm saying is that they got rid of this rule in 2018, and it was the DPP that complained about it to the Central Election Commission. And then they still got rid of this rule. It was still not being used in the 2020 presidential election, except the DPP got 8.17 million ballots. So they stopped complaining about getting rid of this rule because now all the elections were going in the DPP's favor. And I'm saying that the general public is used to having this rule around. So when they were asking for it, can you please tell us how many ballots were? The election staff would ignore them. So how come there's no, how come you guys don't talk to us? We're it's what's the number? What's the number? Give us a number. And they're just you're interfering with our duties. Or just they just ignore you. So we've gotten to the point in Taiwan where the government can't be accountable to things anymore. So they just ignore you. Right? And then, it's, do you think it's appropriate to get rid of this rule in a real democracy? If that was done in France, would that be a scandal? Okay, would it be a scandal to suddenly replace all the transparent ballot boxes with a cardboard box with a hole and a compartment and all that kind of stuff? What would happen if that was done on a large scale?
So, French people, and I think the Chinese as well, man. So I'm saying Chinese because
Mainland Chinese?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think, because Taiwan is a very similar culture, maybe they love cheating as well. I don't know. Okay, whatever, it doesn't matter. That's not my point. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just stick to France here.
Okay.
French people love to cheat. They love it, man. Okay. If there's a loophole, they will go into it. Okay, 100%. But they love justice even more. Fairness even more. Our motto is liberté, égalité, fraternité. Liberty, equality, fraternity. Okay, so liberty, equality in France is so important. So fairness, justice, it's so important. So they don't want people to cheat in the election because of that. Okay, so everybody's equal, so that's why they implemented a system that cannot be cheated. They spend so much time and effort to design that system.
Well, the system is only good if people follow the system, right? So we also have a system in Taiwan that prevents cheating, but they just bypass the rules. It's you can have all the rules you want, but it's just we're not going to do that today. Then literally any system can be cheated if you bypass the rules.
Of course.
Yeah.
But so you must have counter powers, right?
Unfortunately, we don't have a real
So
opposition
that's
today.
why But look, I think the main problem I see with democracy here, like I said, we go back to the beginning of the video. It's that people don't care. They don't care. They don't want to volunteer and work a day for free.
Yeah, no, hold on. But no, they can volunteer, but the party needs to send them, and the party doesn't care. What happens when what happened in 2004 was it was KMT versus DPP, and the KMT, in my opinion, got cheated. But in 2020, it was KMT and DPP versus Hangori. It was two parties against them and the people.
Listen, when I volunteered for my party, in 1 second, my leader said yes.
Okay.
He didn't even think like, oh, is Mike a good guy? Is Mike a bad guy? No, I'm a member. You must trust me like I trust you, right? I don't know the leader personally. You know, maybe he's a terrible guy in private. You know, I don't care. You must have trust at some point, you know? So he said, yes, okay, Mike, you go. Period. That was over. We didn't have any discussion about it. Okay, I'll register you right now. That's it.